Hello and welcome to the Energy Brief with Peter. In rural areas worldwide, mini-grids are proving a viable alternative to grid extension. From remote villages in Tanzania to small islands in India, communities are gaining access to electricity for the first time through mini-grids. In this video, we'll be talking about the microgrid or the mini-grid energy market, the concept, the market size, the market drivers, and the challenges and key trends that are facing this sector. What are microgrids? Microgrids are small-scale power grids in a form of distributed energy systems that emerged due to the need for sustainable energy generation to reduce carbon emissions and improve energy security in a given area. In many countries, microgrid energy systems are used to connect and supply electricity in remote areas as an alternative to the traditional power generation systems. Microgrids can switch away from the main grid and continue to provide power during emergencies. For instance, just recently in January, a solar microgrid power system was announced to be under development at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City, and it will keep the airport running even during power outages. With more than 13,000 solar panels and 7.6 megawatts of generating capacity, the rooftop photovoltaic system at the airport will become the largest on any airport terminal in the US. This is an instance of the value microgrids bring in emergencies. In February 2023, Duke Energy provided its first microgrid in North Carolina that can power an entire small town if its main power line experiences an outage. The process of microgrid switching away from the main grid and continue to provide power during emergencies is also known as islanding. Market size of microgrids. The global microgrid market size was reached at $26.3 billion in 2021 and is expected to surpass around $85.7 billion by the end of 2030, expanding at a registered compound annual growth rate of 14.03% from 2022 to 2028. That says a lot about the potentials which the mini-grid or the microgrid sector brings to the energy sector in general, and what companies can look forward to in contributing to the development of the sector and later on getting profits, getting expansion from the microgrid and mini-grid sector. There are key drivers in this sector. The key drivers in this sector, for the first one is rural electricity. Majority of the population without energy access reside in rural or isolated settings. Microgrids may then be set up in small areas and provide power at a cheaper price than traditional grids. Technological advancements in renewable energy also is a key driver to the microgrid sector. The market is also expected to be driven by advancements in renewable energy technology. Renewable energy sources may readily be used by microgrids to produce power. Additionally, because they produce nearly no carbon emissions and have advantages in terms of efficiency and cost, renewable energy sources are increasingly being used in microgrids. The third driver that we would examine here is the fact that it is the carbon reduction mandate by government. The growth of microgrid industry will be driven by strict government regulations to minimize carbon footprint together with the ongoing development of energy efficient technologies. Although this mandate by government had gotten a lot of setbacks in the recent years because of oil profit and then the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which has caused a cut in energy supplies for countries and made them resort to fossil fuel generating energy sources. So in 2021, President Joe Biden signed an executive order to make the federal government carbon neutral by 2050, aiming for a 65% reduction in planet warming greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and an all-electric fleet of cars and trucks 5 years later. Around June 2023 also, there was a court dispute in the US on whether the Environmental Protection Agency, that is EPA, can mandate carbon emission reductions. However, the Supreme Court restricted the EPA's authority to mandate carbon emission reductions. Despite this setback, the US government and other countries have rolled out various kinds of incentives to embrace carbon reduction programs and tech trends in the microgrid sector. There are various trends and developments in the microgrid or mini-grid sector right now, which you should be aware of. One is the increasing adoption of renewable energy sources. Microgrids are often used to integrate renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, and there has been a trend towards increasing adoption of these technologies in recent years. Growing demand for energy resilience and reliability. There's a growing demand for microgrids to improve the energy resilience and reliability of energy systems. Also, there are advances in energy storage technologies. Development of more efficient and cost-effective energy storage technologies is enabling the expansion of microgrid applications and making them more viable in a wider range of locations. New technologies will improve the efficiency and cost-effectiveness of mini-grids. Emerging innovations in generation, storage, and end-use equipment will also increase efficiency, decrease costs, and provide better energy services to end users. Much interesting is the fact that there's a rising interest in virtual power plants. What are virtual power plants now? Virtual power plants are large-scale collections of distributed energy sources that are managed as a single entity. There is increasing interest in virtual power plants as a way to optimize the operation of microgrids and enable the integration of more renewable energy. There's also changes in regulations and policies. Changes in regulations and policies at the local, state, and national levels can significantly impact the viability and adoption of microgrids or mini-grids. Many governments are adopting policies that support the development of microgrids as a way to increase energy security and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Governments and businesses around the world are investing in renewable energy sources, renewable energy, and adopting policies to support the growth of these technologies. For example, many countries have set targets for increasing the share of renewable energy in their total energy mix, and there are many initiatives underway to promote the development and deployment of renewable energy technologies, including microgrids. We should note that the microgrid sector is not without its challenges. It's not without its challenges at all, because so many things needs to be considered before embarking on microgrid projects. So there are several challenges in the microgrid sector, and one is the high upfront costs. The initial cost of developing and deploying a microgrid can be significant, which can make it difficult for some projects to secure financing. Mini-grids or microgrids are not always the most cost-effective choice for rural electrification in large or dense communities close to the national grid. Mini-grids are most likely to be cost-effective in mid-density communities that are far from the national grid, where the retail cost of electricity from the national grid is high, and in areas where with reliable sources of renewable energy sources. Mini-grids are most cost-effective for applications that require mid-level amount of electricity. Standalone solar home systems or off-grid solar systems are best for dispersed homes that are far from the grid and require small amounts of electricity. The second challenge is intermittent energy sources. Renewable energy sources such as solar and wind are intermittent, which can make it challenging to ensure a stable and reliable energy supply. The third issue here, or challenge here, is the complex regulatory environment. The regulations governing microgrids can vary significantly from one jurisdiction to another, which can make it difficult for companies to navigate the regulatory landscape and secure necessary approvals for their projects. Also, There's limited technical expertise in the microgrid and the minigrid sector. There is a limited pool of technicians and engineers with the necessary expertise to design and operate microgrids, which can make it difficult for some companies to find qualified personnel. There's also difficulties with integration with existing energy systems. Integrating microgrids with existing energy systems can be complex, and it can be challenging to ensure that microgrids are able to operate seamlessly with the larger grid, which are heavily based on fossil fuel. Finally, mini-grids have opened the way for private sector and community investments to rapidly close the energy access gap. Addressing the environmental health and safety impacts of mini-grids in project design, implementation, and monitoring is essential. It is also important to mitigate risk to ensure project sustainability and regulatory compliance.